Hello, my people. Welcome back. So it's been a little bit since I did one of these ones. You guys checked out earlier. I did a G1 and a Beast Wars continuity guide, and then we are at RID 2001, or better known as Car Robots. Here, hold on one second. So, wanted to discuss this a little bit with you guys. As you can see, I have the three big boys, as I call them: Megatron, Ultra Magnus, and Optimus Prime. Ultra Magnus and Megatron are still in a sealed box, so I would probably not open them. I got Optimus loose, so of course I transformed him to his super mode. Now, as you guys saw in my other videos, I had DVDs. It ain't so in the US. We do not have RID on DVD. Now, in Japan, Car Robots was put on the DVD by Pony Canyon, and of course it was done by Maximum Entertainment in the UK through Jetix. So yeah, they've been riding high with those DVDs for a long time. So the problem we have here in the US is when this was shown in 2001, 2002, it was done by Saban on Fox Kids. Well, Saban got bought out by Disney for a while till Saban bought its stuff back, which is why now we have a new Power Rangers movie coming out. I don't know if Saban had bought RID back from Disney. So that kind of puts us into a limbo, because Shop Factory can't do it if they don't have all the licenses. And I'm hoping that they will either they already have the license, or the support from Disney to be able to do it, or that just Disney would release it. That'd be my preference, is that somebody releases RID onto DVD in the US. Even better is if we get the Car Robots version. So let's talk about the cartoon. So the cartoon was 39 episodes, and out of those 39 episodes, only 36 were actual episodes. 3 of them were clip shows, which were episodes 13, 26, and 35 in both the US and into the Japanese version. So, as I talked about before, there was a meeting of the minds, a conglomeration between Hasbro and Takara, which at this time now we were getting close to being called Takara Tomy. What had happened is that we in the US were still riding high on Beast Wars and Beast Machines. Well, sales started going down in Japan. So they said, okay, we need to go do something. We're not making any money. Toys aren't selling. Let's come up with something different. And then we saw the same thing starting to happen in the US. So there was an agreement made, and Car Robots was done first in 2000 and shown in Japan. And then they started getting a little smarter, and they said, well, after the whole Beast Wars thing, it's not looking so good, so we need to make a new show, and which would of course be Armada, or called Micron Legend in Japan. So what had happened is the US said, hey, we're not doing so good anymore. Let's port over your show from Japan and put it on our show, and so we can sell more toys. Because that's what Transformers is all about, really, is to sell toys. The shows are amazing. You know, the movies are... We'll get to the movies another day. Okay, not here. I've got difference of opinions on certain pieces and parts of the movies. We will have a movie one as well for continuity. But, so we ported over Japan's first, other than the other way, where we sent them all of our stuff. We ported over their thing as a stock filler of these episodes to do that. Now, remember, this is 2001. We started doing this. There was a lot of episodes in there that had references to things that were going to happen with 9/11. You know, we had explosions. We had bombs and things like that in the show, which at the time had already been shown in 2000 in Japan, but we had sensitivities in the U.S. because of 9/11 happening, and rightfully so. They wanted to respect the people that had been through a lot of things, and so they tried to pull back some of the episodes, re-edit them, do some different dialogue, change things around to respect those, and I can respect that. So, Rid, 2001 was born, and it was shown in 2001 through 2002. The premise of this show is kind of weird. We've got the Autobots, who have been here for a long time in the world. They're still just robots in disguise, They're machines, they're cars, or trucks, whatever. Well, Megatron decides to come to the Earth because he has orders from the Predacon Council to get Fort Max. Fort Max was in the Earth, literally in the Earth at the core. To get to them, they had to find these things called O-parts. Well, the O-parts were only known by a couple of people, and one was a doctor, Dr. O, or Koji, I think it was, or Koshi. So Megatron abducts this doctor and starts trying to pull it out of his head where the O-parts are. And the first one goes miserably. He finds out where it is, and the Autobots get it. So it was a pretty sad day. The cool thing about what the Predacons had brought with them was kind of a difference of things. You brought Megatron, you brought Skybite, you brought was it Gas Skunk or something like that. You brought a couple of these things, and they were all Predacons. They weren't Decepticons. But as Megatron fought against the Autobots, he learned he was losing. So he lost the first O-part to the Autobots. But what he gained was 6 protoforms that were from the Autobots, which then were made into Decepticons. Okay? This is how we got people like Scourge. We got Ruination, which is Bruticus. If you've seen Rid, you know that Ruination is just Bruticus in different colors from G1, which is why it's confusing for Rid, because there's issues there, and I'll get to that in a minute. So they're fighting, So of course the Predacons that came with Megatron wanted to fight against the Decepticons that Megatron built. So of course there was a huge fight. Scourge was their leader of the Decepticons as well, and then Skybite was the leader of the Predacons under Megatron. So you always had Skybite and Megatron fighting over that. Well, that was all good and great until Ultra Magnus finally shows up on Earth. Ultra Magnus initially was a bad guy. He wanted to steal the Matrix from Optimus. Oh, and by the way, Optimus and Ultra Magnus are brothers in this show. Spoiler. So, spoiler in this whole if you're watching this, you've already had an idea what it is. If not, you're watching it because you don't want to watch it and it's easy to get through. So the premise was, Ultra Magnus wanted to get the Matrix for his own self. These two learn that they can share the power of the Matrix, and then they can become Omega Prime. Okay, so as Omega Prime, they're able to fight lots of different scenarios. Yeah, it was interesting for a little bit. So what happens is Skybite, like I was talking about, Skybite and Scourge were fighting, and at one point Skybite said, okay, I'm just going to get the doctor and figure out everything myself. Well, he accidentally gets the doctor loose, and then of course he goes over to Optimus. Well, Optimus of course finds out from the doctor where all the O-parts is, and he gets the map to Fort Max. Well, during this time, Scourge wanted to take over all the Predacons and the Decepticons, so he ends up leaving. He fights with Megatron, and they're in a temple, and he leaves him in this temple. Well, this temple, of course, has power, which changes Megatron into Galvatron. Just like in G1, Megatron got turned into Galvatron again. Okay. So yeah. So he definitely comes back. And then you have the fight between Omega Prime and then Galvatron at the time. Well, like I was saying, Optimus found the roadmap and got to Fort Max. So they got to Fort Max. And then, so they fight with the energies from Fort Max and Omega Prime, and then they stop Galvatron. That's it for the show. Now, there were some other Autobots in there. They had a group of brothers that was called the Autobot Brothers. Really, that's all it's called. And that was like Sideburn, X-Brawn, and there was one more that was in there. They're not memorable, I'll tell you that. What was memorable about some of the other Autobots, though, was their combiner that they had. So you had this thing called Build King, and Build King was pretty much like a Autobot version of Devastator, but not even close. And Grimlock gets turned into like a scoop truck. I still don't understand that one to this day. Grimlock should be a dinosaur. He should be a T-Rex. But yeah, they called him that. But yeah, like I said, they had the Build King, they had the Autobot brothers, and then of course Decepticons had their side, the Predacons and the Decepticons. This was like I said, a joint venture, of course, between Takara and Hasbro. What they wanted to do is, of course, to sell toys. Well, Japan is a little different than America, okay, as far as toys go. If it doesn't sell, it don't sell, they don't care. Okay, they want to see their products go far, but it's not like they don't have to have something on the shelf every year. That's a Transformer. They can go years in between. I mean, you look at what they actually did with car robots. So let me explain car robots versus robots in disguise. So car robots, of course, was made in 2000. It was shown in its entirety, and then they were already getting ready to work on Armada. So they had these molds here. You know, it was Fire Convoy. They had this one, which was God Magnus, and then they had Megatron, which was Gigatron. You know, they had a lot of these core people, but then the rest of their stuff was just redos. Like they had some Predacons that was just left over from Transmetals 2 from Beast Wars. So they weren't really worried about it because they knew Armada was coming. You know, or Micron Legend for them in Japan. So yeah, this was just really a filler show and a filler run for toys for them. But in the U.S., it took off. And the reason being is why it took off is because it was a back to the original, back to the G1 era, you know, kind of toys, back to things. And while incorporating the Predacons from Beast Wars into it. So it gravitated a lot with kids in the U.S. Now let's talk about continuity. This is a continuity guy, right? Right. That's where it gets murky. So in the U.S., this has no ties to G1 at all, period. It is its own continuity, its own little world, its own little pocket dimension outside of G1. In Japan, though, it's not the same. It is actually part of G1. And what they said had happened is after Headmasters, when Cybertron blew up, spoiler if you've not watched Headmasters, Cybertron goes bye-bye. It caused all these dimensional issues. Well, car robots becoming one of those, you know, one of these off things where they all go to Earth, you know, at a different time. You guys in G1, of course, they went back during the Stone Age. Well, here they go back during the 21st century. So, yes, it's still considered part of the Japanese G1 continuity, but not the U.S. Did that make any more sense? I hope it did. Still doesn't make 100% sense to me yet either. But yeah, the real thing that we got out of this series was the toys. And this is actually the first time where we get to see combiners in bigger formats. So what I'm talking about is the Omega Prime. You know, you're getting to combine, you know, a leader class and a leader class to make a supreme class figure level. That was the first time we got to do that. In G1 we had combiners, but they were Devastator, Bruticus, you know, Computron, and those kind of things. We had a Metroplex. but those weren't huge combiners. You know, we didn't have those yet. The biggest one that was out in G1 like that would have been Overlord, which we never got in the U.S. It was only in Europe and Japan, maybe Australia too. We never got it, so all of ours were just the normal combiners. So this introduced that concept, which is still being done to this day today, where you can combine bigger vehicles into a massive one. You can look at, Armada, you can look at Energon, you can look at Cybertron, you can look at the movies after the fact, things like that. And then they ended up doing a little bit of that with Prime, but not in the grand scale of toys like they did with here. But yeah, like I said, this has been Rid and Car Robots. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of time with us. I am still trying to find the DVDs from the UK. They're probably expensive because the last set that came out was in 2008, almost 9 years ago. And that was the whole series in one shot. So I am trying to find that. But yeah, this has been Car Robots, Robots in Disguise, part of Nate's Transformers Continuity Guide. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. I hope you guys got some essay into some more Transformers history. Alright, if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe down below it. And if you have any comments, good or bad, I'll take those too. I'm always here about getting better at what I do and learning and just pushing on. Now, this guy here says this: Shout Factory or Disney, give us the DVDs in the US. Optimus commands you. Alright, been your redneck from Georgia Nate. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for everything. Latest.